Hey, I'm Ayuma Michelle, and welcome to Let's with Ayuma. This is an online safe space that I started to empower progressive women just like you from all around the world to thrive with purpose. Today, I'll actually be talking about weird things that people have actually told me. What actually inspired this topic is something that I'll share later. But first and foremost, please hit that subscribe button. My goal is to reach to 300 people, and thank you so much for journeying with me so far. If you like my content so far, please just hit that subscribe button. And if it's your first time on this channel, welcome. Check out this video. If you dig it, subscribe, okay? So, the actual inspiration for this video is this week, all over my women networks, for some reason, I was just really inspired to start discussions about words, the words that we use and the effect it has on people, and even the effect it has on us. The words we use to describe ourselves, to speak to ourselves, also the words that we use to speak to other people, and what that actually tells about us and our mental state and our mental attitude. So I found it to be so interesting. So I just said that, hey, why not do a video about it? You guys, you ladies will be so shocked at some of the things people actually had the strength to say some of these things. Like, they're very weird. Some of them are just outright just wrong, but some of them are really, really funny. Some of them are sweet. So please just listen in and just let me know what you think about these things, okay? So the first one is that there's a time I was actually on a date. There's a time I was on a date with this guy, right? And you know, we ladies, sometimes you go on a date and then you suck things in, like you suck your stomach in. Yes, I may seem like I have a little bit of a slender body type, but still I have a muffin top, like it's real. And I love it. Whenever I'm just sitting by myself, I'm not really too conscious about it. But now when you're on a date, you know, you're trying to eat and you're still sucking things in. So there's a time I was a bit self-conscious about my muffin top. A muffin top, for those of you who don't know, a muffin top is like when you sit down and then a bit of your belly like literally pours out of a little bit of your belly is like squeezed out with your trousers or with your pants or whatever, like just a little bit of your belly, where your belly button is, just a little bit of it pours into the world, you know. So I was a bit self-conscious about it. I think that day I was bloating, but this guy was so sweet. You know what he ended up telling me? He was like, he actually loves seeing that on women. For me, I was like, what did you just say? Funny enough, he said that the muffin top on women is something so beautiful and feminine. So he does not understand why women normally like try to suck it in or hide it or whatever. He actually likes muffin tops on women. For me, it was weird. It was like so weird, but at the same time I was like, oh, my muffin top is welcome, you know, like it can join us on this date, you know. So I was so happy to actually hear that, and it was so sweet. But at the end of the day, I think he's actually, not even I think, I know he is right, because as women, our bodies are beautiful. We don't need to literally be spending our days sucking things in just so that we can look like we have flat bellies. Our bodies are beautiful just the way they are. So what he said was true and so sweet. So the second thing, right? When I was on campus, there's a time there's a lady who just stopped me, and I was just walking on the corridors, and there's a lady who just stopped me, and she just randomly told me, don't grow any bigger than this. And I was like, okay, what do you mean? She was like, yeah, your body is perfect. It's amazing. Do you know how many of us work so hard to get our bodies like this? So please, don't be careless about your body. Don't grow any bigger than this. That lady didn't know. Like, and for me, I was like, since when did people become, did people have a right to tell me what body size I should have, you know? And just also something that I'd like to mention is that I really appreciate this Kenyan YouTuber called Joy Candy. She recently talked about this, how somebody kept on telling her that she should go back to her smaller size not knowing that that smaller size represented a time in her life when her life was really, really painful. And so people don't know that people's body sizes are related to the season that they're going through in their lives. So imagine this lady, unwarranted, she just came and started giving me all these commands and telling me, don't grow any bigger than this, you've already become big enough. Those of us who would have bodies like yours, we would be more careful and responsible with it. But that lady didn't even know that at that time, I had put on weight. My body behaves weird because sometimes when I go through very stressful seasons in my life, I can either lose a lot of weight or I can gain a lot of weight. Now that's hormonal, right? I can lose a lot of weight maybe because I'm not eating enough and I just do not remember to eat, or I can gain a lot of weight because it's hormonal, and I've actually been battling with that quite a lot, you know. So that's something strange that I found somebody who can just stop me out of the blue. I didn't know this girl too well, but she was just like, don't grow any bigger than this, you know. And she's telling me to, you know, it's like my body is hers. Yeah, so ladies, please just mind your own business, mind your own bodies. And if you like somebody's body, just appreciate them, celebrate them, but please never ever tell somebody how big or small they should be, because you don't know the season that body size represents, and you don't know how hard they might be struggling to go through it or survive it. Okay, so the third part, hey, this one is funny, ladies. There's a time I went for an event, a networking event, and then there's this guy, you know, who spotted me, and he came. You know, he's a really exceptional guy, good looking and everything. He was a Kenyan man, but he's really, you know, he's really excellent at his profession. Like, I checked out his website, you know, he gave me his card, and he was over there trying to holler at your girl. You know, so he started talking to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, this guy is going to ask me out. And at that time, I was like, okay, I can already see where this conversation is going. And I was, you know, when you start looking at the guy, you're like, okay, this guy actually looks good. Okay, he's talking right. Okay, look at his job. Okay, he has good things. Until he said this one thing, ladies. He had the audacity to tell me, at least your natural hair is straight. It's not ragged like these ladies around here. That is when I cancelled him. I cancelled that guy. Because I was like, my hair is natural. It only took 3 hours, literally, for my hair to go back into its poofy state. But this guy found my hair when it was still, you know, salon fresh. Yeah, I had gone to do like some henna treatment. And so because of that, I'd also tongued it and straightened it, right? And done a little bit of length check by cutting the edges and stuff like that. So imagine this guy just comes and he thought that it was a compliment to tell me that at least my natural African curly hair, which at that time was straight, that at least my hair was straight and not ragged like the other women in the room whose hair was natural and kinky. You guys, I have no idea who on earth imposed these beauty standards. And especially, I think for me, I took it to heart because this was an African man who was priding himself with being a Pan-African professional and Pan-African in thought and appreciating African women. But here he is literally looking down upon the natural state, kinky state of African women's hair. And then he expects me to see it as a compliment. I didn't like that. Trying to attack other women's beauty, trying to attack other women to make me feel good, that can never, ever be a compliment. So this goes out not only to African men, but also to any person out there who thinks that you can make somebody feel good by making another person feel bad. That can never ever be a compliment, right? And if you're an African woman with your kinky curly hair, please accept it and love it just as it is. In fact, I am working on something beautiful with a friend of mine, and I hope to actually speak life to African women who are, you know, currently maybe struggling with the very many voices of beauty standards, not only from our own continent and men and societies, but also from the world, right? So I'm so excited. I'll share with you more details as we keep planning about that. Okay, the fourth one. The fourth one is there's a time I was actually taking a walk with my big sister a while back, and I think we were going for a worship service. A worship service. I think it was at Nairobi Baptist Church here in Kenya, and it was a beautiful. It was a worship. Yes, it was a worship service, but it was like we were singing it was like sort of like Christmas songs, because I remember it was November. So imagine there's a car that stopped right next to us on the road, and somebody started calling out to my sister. And when this guy called out to my sister, she noticed that, oh, these were guys either from school or something. Do you know, upon seeing me, those guys were still in the car. They do not know me. They didn't even know I existed. But as soon as they saw me, do you know what they said? Do you know what they told my sister? They were like, your sister, she looks like a model. She looks like those ones who give men trouble, and those ones who run away to Milan with your Visa card. Like with your, is it a smart card? What are they called? Yeah, like with your card, the Visa, the electronic cards, So I was like, wow. So this guy has seen me. They doesn't even know who I am. Like, he's just met me for the very first time. But then he has the audacity to audibly share with my sister, and obviously I heard it, that, oh, she looks like a model, therefore she means trouble for men, and therefore she looks like the ones who run off, who disappear to Milan with your card, with your credit card. That's the name. With your credit card. Can you imagine? Like, somebody has that impression on me. I found that to be very strange. And I was like, okay, if that's what you think women who look like me are, then that is a guy who's literally settled for the narrative that beautiful women are trouble for men and they run away with your money. That's the story that guy is telling himself, and it's a false story, right? So yeah, isn't that weird, guys? Like, that is so strange. Then the fifth one is, there's a time I was at, this one is a really cool one. It was like my ego was really boosted. I was at a fashion event. I remember it was at iHub a few years back, and there was I wish there were more events like these, ladies. I wish there were more events like this that were tailored for a particular thing, but then people from different industries come. So this one was a fashion event. Can you imagine? At a technology hub, at a top technology hub in East Africa. And so that meant that people from all walks of life who loved fashion and who had a passion for fashion came together, from technology to designers to influencers and stuff like that. I really found that to be amazing. So there's a time I walked in, I remember I was wearing a green turtleneck, some jeans and some boots, and my poofy natural afro hair was out, and so there's a time I just walked in and I was talking to the barista. Yes, and there's a in-house coffee shop. How cool is that? So, and it's run by a good friend of mine called Pete. His coffee house is called Pete's Coffee. Please check it out. He is an amazing guy, and he actually won in he's an excellent guy who started his own coffee shop and cafe styles. And it's not sponsored, but I really, really admire what he does. He actually won some years back the World Barista competitions. So he knows his stuff, and he brought all that amazing stuff to Kenya, and he started his own coffee shop. So it's amazing. So I was there just standing, talking to the coffee guys, and then people just randomly started standing around me. So I was like, what's happening? I was even thinking something was happening, until people were like talking to me and stuff, and I was like, okay guys, what's happening? Okay, yeah, why are you coming to me? Until this one guy just said, oh, you're not one of the guest speakers. I was like, no. Then he was like, oh, it's just that you look important. So I was like, do I look important? So I was just so happy, because I literally had no idea. That's why I normally say, ladies, dress for the event, right? So I was just there, and I was thinking, oh, maybe people are talking about something. Maybe people have been told to gather in groups and discuss something. That's where my thoughts were. But turns out people were gathering around me because they thought I was one of the fashion experts. So I still remember that till today. And for somebody to just be like, oh, you look important. Yeah, so remember, ladies, always dress for the occasion. If you're going for a fashion event, you may not necessarily be a designer or whatever, but just because of that, you will attract people towards you. It means you take yourself seriously. Therefore, people will pull towards you. Okay, the sixth one. The sixth one is there's a time I was being casted. This one is really sweet. There's a time I was doing, I still am registered, but I'm thinking about unregistering just because the economy doesn't, I don't know. I just don't know. I am registered at a certain agency for casting and modeling. So I no longer do modeling. There's a time I used to be a model, but I realized that I like the behind the scenes stuff, like being a designer. So that's why I went into jewelry design. And I'm still trying to figure out how to still get into jewelry design because I love creating. But for that particular agency, I'm registered as a casting sort of like an actor, right? So if brands want to do adverts and stuff like that, they reach out to the agency, and then they do they send them some of our photographs, and then they're like, okay, I like this one, I like this one. So for me, for this particular one, it was a big organization. They were doing an advert, and so I was one of the people who'd been casted for it. So we were there. It was a full day affair, guys. I didn't know that it literally takes your entire day. Yeah, so I only started saying yes to jobs which would match how much I would make in a day for my business. So that's also very important, ladies. Know the value of your time, right? So what happened is that at the end, it was like literally in the evening, the organization came, dropped us at the CBD in Nairobi, which is like the town area, the main business area, the business central in Nairobi. And then now everyone was to go home. But then these guys, I could tell that I was one of them. I was actually the oldest person in the group. So these guys were like, many of them were like from high school, and then some of them were maybe split. Some of them were from high school and some of them were from university. So these guys were like, hi, there's a certain what is it called? There's a certain offer for movies. You get a movie and they give you free, I don't know what. Then another one was like, yeah, we can also go to this club. They have free shots and stuff like that. Until I was just telling these guys, like, I am not your age. I told them I have a business to run. This is just one of the things that I do to build my revenue models. I mean, this is just one of my revenue streams that I do to just keep me going financially, but also to, explore other things. But I was like, I have to go home. I want to sleep early. I want to take my tea and just, finish up with my emails and stuff before I can actually rest. Then they were like, oh my gosh, you're not 24? So I was like, no, I'm not 24. They actually thought that I'm either in uni or even in high school. And this is the thing, whenever I have my natural hair out, there's a thing, and I hold it maybe in a bun or something. People actually think that I'm very, very young. Like sometimes people think I'm in high school, like I'm a teenager, or like I'm in uni. But as we know, black do not crack. So maybe that's the actual thing. So they were thinking I was actually their age mate, like 24, 23. Many of them were in university. So just being asked, you're not 24? Like that was very specific. They were like, this whole time, this person has literally known you are 24. So, but at that time I was actually 28 or 29. So that was something really, it was weird for somebody to be very specific, like, you are not 24. Yeah, but I think it's really sweet. Yeah. And then this is another one. This one is a sweet one that, this is one of those ego boosters. So, of late, many ladies have been asking me, like, what foundation are you wearing? What foundation are you wearing? And yes, one of you actually commented and even told me in other groups that I should do, asked me that I should do a skincare video. At first I was like, no, but does my channel really deal with such topics? But then I was like, why not? I mean, most of us are home, and if you want to learn something new and take care of your health and your skin, why not? Because your skin is your biggest body organ. Why not do a video? So I'll do that. It's coming soon, maybe next week, but coming soon. So, while people normally ask me what foundation I'm wearing, most of the time I'm normally not wearing foundation. Even right now, I'm not wearing any foundation. So I'll definitely do a skin video. I found that to be so sweet. Like a lot people normally ask me whether I'm wearing foundation, and a quick check is that you'll notice I have this and I have this. That's how you know I'm not wearing foundation. So that's a clue, right? But please don't zoom into my videos, don't zoom into my pictures. Okay, I also have flaws. And then the eighth one is that there's a time I was actually I was hanging out with some guys, and for me, I'm not ashamed of my faith. I'm a born again Christian and I love it, and I'm normally not ashamed to actually share it whenever I'm in groups. So there's a time I actually shared that I'm a born again Christian, and these guys laughed. There's even a guy who literally fell off his chair, and I was like, why like, why are you having such an extreme reaction to me sharing that I'm a born again Christian? And this guy said that I look like a ravaholic. Like, the appearance, he said that just from how he looks at me or how he saw me, he said that I look like a ravaholic. So it was just really weird that he would say that, because he didn't know me too well, but then he's like, just from looking at my face or whatever, he assumed that I was a ravaholic. And mind you, rave-holic, meaning not only do I go for raves, which, okay, for those of you who are maybe in the younger generation, raves are like going out to clubs and stuff like that, like going out to clubs and hanging out and partying and stuff like that. So he was like, not only do I do this, but I am a holic, meaning I am addicted to it. So I was like, wow, those are worlds apart, because I do not do that or anymore. I no longer do that. But it's just so weird that somebody would have such an extreme reaction to me saying that I'm a born again Christian, and then saying that it's because they thought I'm a ravaholic. Yeah, that's really oh yeah, and the guy also said and promiscuous. So I was like, what kind of a life has this guy lived? And which kind of women does he surround himself with? Or what kind of thoughts, like, what does he really think of women for him to see me and think that way? It's really, really strange, right? And this is another one. The ninth one is, there's a time I had a global call. We were in a certain, not organization. There was a phone call, a group call. I think it was Zoom or something, where many women were discussing various topics and how to support each other from around the world. So the leader of this group, she was European, and it was so weird that once I introduced myself as Kenyan, she randomly told me that, hey, she also knows another woman who's Kenyan. But here's the weird thing. She told me, go tell her hello. I found that to be so funny, because I don't know all Kenyans. So it's so weird that I don't know, is it a race thing? But there's just this thing of how people who are not African, especially Europeans and Americans, sometimes, y'all, like, it's not a village, we don't know everyone. So she literally told me that because she has a friend, or she knows a woman who's Kenyan, and she heard that I'm Kenyan, she was like, go tell her hello. So the funny thing that I did is that I went on Facebook and I was like, if anyone knows this woman, tell her a woman from Europe has said hello. It was so weird. And there are many Africans who came on that Facebook post and they just laughed. And they were like, oh my gosh, this happens to you as well. It's like people assume Africa is like a village or a neighborhood, where if you know one person, you know everyone. Africans are so different. We even have different groups. Like in Africa, we have three main groups. There are Bantus, there are Nilotes, people who follow the Nile, and there are lots of Kushites, people who look like Somalis and Ethiopians. Bantus are majority, those of us with our beautiful noses and our facial features. My facial features are strong Bantu features. So even amongst Africans, we have a lot of diversity, and we do not know everyone, right? So if you're American or European and you're watching this, please, we do not know everyone. So don't tell me to go tell somebody hello just because I'm Kenyan or African, And the last one, this is one that truly shocked me till today. There's a time, my previous startup, I did lots of events around coffee culture. And so I was organizing an Eritrean coffee ceremony The Eritrean embassy in Kenya was also on board. The media was on board. Various partners were on board, and this is one of the things that I was so proud of. That I did, or that I organized. And so this whole time we'd be organizing with these guys. We had our partner was an Eritrean owned restaurant, right? Because many people confuse Ethiopian and Eritrean. They're completely different, but they too have amazing coffee culture. And I was like, wow, so people are finally going to learn about Eritrean coffee culture. So there were vendors, there were all sorts of things that we wanted people to experience. So I turned up for the meeting, and I waited and waited and waited. And I was like, yo, like, why is it taking such a long time for this meeting to start? And these people, time conscious and stuff. Until somebody came and told me, when is Michelle going to arrive? And I was like, I am Michelle. Then they were like, no, we mean the other Michelle, your boss. When is Michelle going to arrive? Then I was like, I am Michelle, the owner of Kahawa Culture. That was the name of my startup. Kahawa Culture means coffee culture. Kahawa is Kiswahili for coffee. So I was so shocked because they were like, oh, we thought Michelle was Italian. So we were expecting an Italian woman. Then I was like, what? What made you think? Then apparently they saw my name Michelle and my surname and they thought I was Italian. But it's the fact that they thought that somebody who was able to create such an event had to be white. So I was like, are you guys kidding? You're Africans just like me, and you think that the only kind of people who can organize such a beautiful, delicious event is a white person? So imagine, the meeting was just so awkward. And even after the meeting, this is what happened. Even before I reached the gate, they'd already sent me an email. Because at that time, I was using an app to get a taxi, to hail a taxi. So the taxi had just arrived. So even before I left their gate, the gate of that restaurant, they'd already sent me an email telling me that they've dropped out. They've dropped out of the event, that they can't work with me. So I was so heartbroken. And imagine having to send an email. And that was 2 weeks to the event. I had to send an email to the embassy because there's no other Eritrean restaurant. And can you imagine, in business, you can't just bring in somebody last minute. I had to send apologies to the Eritrean embassy, to the media, to the other partners, to the vendors. I was so disappointed. And imagine to know that they dropped out, not because there was something wrong with me or there was something wrong with how I was planning. It was excellently done, if I do say so myself. And honestly, it was excellently done. But because they expected a white Italian woman, and I turned out to be a fellow East African. East African just like them. So you see how sad this really is. The one thing that I truly want to share with you ladies is, and I know that this has truly been brought through, especially our professional environments, that anytime you see maybe somebody with a white co-founder, then that means the organization is better. Or you see somebody married to a white person, then that means their marriage must be better. Or somebody who studied from a white-owned university or a foreign university, then that means definitely their education is better. Honestly, we need to change that mindset. We need to change that narrative. Africans are the source of a lot of creativity that inspires the world, right? And I just hope that we can get to a point where we see ourselves and we see excellence. We see each other and we see excellence. We see amazing creators instead of seeing, oh, less than, right? So and that's the reason why I wanted to share with you some of these things. If you've noticed, it has actually nothing to do with me. Most of these assumptions or some of these weird things that people say or share, it is actually based on people's mindset and the narratives that they have subscribed to. So what narrative have you subscribed to? Please comment below and let me know what are some of the weird things people have told you, right? Because during this time, I'm sure many people are reflecting and we are realizing a lot of things that are either right or wrong, but this is an opportunity to actually reflect. Some of them may be sweet, some of them might be not so good, some of them are just downright weird and wrong, but you know, at the end of the day, you are the one, whatever narrative you tell about yourself and you tell yourself, that then comes to be, that then comes to pass. You can't control what other people think about you, but you can control what you think of yourself and what you accept to believe about what people say about you, right? So please take some time to also reflect on your words, just the way I've told women in my women networks. Please reflect on your words, reflect what you're internalizing, notice what the world around you is telling about you, but also notice what you are telling about yourself, what you're telling yourself about yourself, right? So like, comment, and subscribe. And I look forward to sharing more videos with you ladies, especially during this season, right? This is Let's with Ayuma, where I'm empowering progressive women just like you and I from all around the world to thrive with purpose. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.